Good morning, students. Welcome to the digital classroom with Holy Heart Schools. Today, we are going to continue with our chapter denudation. In this video, we will be learning about the development of the river valley. But before going through this topic, we will be learning some new words like number 1, valley, lowland between two mountains. Number 2, gorge, a deep valley with a steep sides. Number 3, canyon, an eye-shaped valley deeper than a gorge. Number 4, waterfall, water especially from the river or stream dropping from a higher to a lower point is known as a waterfall. Number 5, hanging valley. Valley formed when the tributary stream joined to the main stream from a higher point. Number 6, rapids. Rapids are the section of river where the water moves very fast, often over the rocks. Number 7, meanders. These are the loop-like structure formed by the rivers during its middle course. Next we have oxbow lakes. These are the crescent-shaped lakes formed when the meander is cut off from the main river. Number 9, delta, a triangular shaped fertile land formed at the mouth of the river. Number 10, braided stream, a stream consisting of multiple small shallow channels that divide and recombine numerous times, forming a pattern resembling the strands of a braid. Number 11, distributaries. A distributary channel is a stream that branches off and flow away from the mainstream channel. And at last we have floodplains. A floodplain is a flat or nearly flat land adjacent to the stream or a river that experience occasional flooding. Now students, please open up your chapter number 10, page number 71. Topic, development of the river valley. But before we start with this topic, let's have a brief about the topic. Development of a river valley. The river forms a large variety of landforms through its erosion, transportation and deposition throughout its course from its source to mouth. From this point of view, the course of the river can be divided into following three parts. The first one is the upper course, then middle course, and after that we have lower course. So let's start with the upper course. The upper or the mountain course begins at the source of the river in the hills or in the mountain areas. The river tumbles down the steep slopes, and as a result of its high velocity, its erosion and transporting power are at the maximum. Following landforms are generally found in the upper course of the river. The first one is gorge. In the highlands, when the river passes through a bed of hard rocks, the main action of the river is downcutting. This results in a narrow and steep-sided valley, which is mostly eye-shaped valleys, and they are known as gorge. The Satluj, the Indus, the Brahmaputra, Gandak, and Kosi rivers have cut the gorges in the Himalayas. For example, Kali Gandaki Gorge in the Himalayas. Next, we have canyon. This is just a magnified form of gorge. When a gorge is very long and steep with almost vertical sides and flat bottomed river valleys, it is called a canyon. And if we say it is just an eye-shaped valley, for example, the Great Canyon of Colorado. The next important landform which is formed by the rivers in its upper course is the V-shaped valley. Most of the world's rivers have formed V-shaped valleys. Such valleys are normally formed in the areas of sufficient rainfall where the rocks are not very hard. Down cutting and side or lateral cutting are done simultaneously by the rivers, and a V-shaped valley is formed. Along with these landforms, many rapids and waterfalls are formed in the upper course of the river. A waterfall is formed when a river descends suddenly from a higher level to a lower level. It is generally formed at the edge of hard rocks lying on the soft rocks. The soft rocks get eroded more than the hard rock, and as a result, the soft rock area becomes deeper and water rushes down almost vertically in the form of waterfalls. For example, Niagara Falls, Jog Falls, and Victoria Falls, etc. These waterfalls are the great source for producing hydroelectricity. While rapids are formed when the river flows over an uneven area consisting of soft and hard rocks, the soft rocks get eroded faster than the hard rocks, hence, the flow of water over the step like changes in the level forms rapids. So now students, let's start with the reading of the topic today. Development of a river valley. The development of the river valley is the combined result of erosional, transportational and depositional work of the river. The valley formation, valley here means a lowland between two hills or mountains, begins with the carving out of the channels. From the source to its mouth, here again the source is the place from where river starts and mouth where the river meets the sea or ocean. A river can be divided into three sections, that is the upper course or the young stage, the middle course or the mature stage, and the lower course or the old stage. The upper course or the young stage. Most of the rivers originate in the highlands. Thus, their upper course lies generally in the mountainous regions. In the upper course, the slope of the land is steep and their velocity means speed of the river is very high. The river carries less volume of water, but due to its high velocity, it can transport large amount of material, and this full we have already discussed in our last video. The main work of the river in this stage is the down erosion or down cutting, which causes the deepening of the river valley. Normally, a narrow and deep valley with a steep side is developed called eye-shaped valley, and this eye-shaped valley is known as gorge. And when this gorge gets deepened, it is known as canyon. And best example of this is the Great Canyon of USA, which is cut by the river Colorado. The exposed surface on the both sides of the deep valley is affected by the agents of weathering. The broken rock materials from both the sides is taken into the rivers, partially due to the force of gravity and partially by rainwater flowing into the river. The upper part of the valley is widened due to the work of weathering, giving it a typical V shape. It is known as V shaped valley. In a simple words, we can define it as a valley formed by erosion from a river or a stream over a time. And it is called a V-shaped valley because of its shape, as it is same as the letter V. A typical feature in the upper course of the river is the development or the occurrence of waterfalls and rapids. Now here, the waterfalls are formed when the river water falls from a great height, and rapids can be defined as the water flowing over the rocks at a very great speed. Waterfalls are caused either due to the sudden descent or abrupt break in the course of the river. It is a vertical drop of water from the great height. These waterfalls are generally found in the mountainous areas or in the plateau regions. The waterfalls are also formed when the tributary stream join the main stream from the higher point, thus forming the hanging valley. As we know that glaciers have their tributaries like rivers, the main glacier erodes its valley much quicker and deeper as compared to the tributary or the small glaciers. A steep slope develops at the confluence, means a meeting point of the tributary glacier with the main glacier. After the snow melts, the water of the tributary glacier makes a waterfall. When it enters the main valley, it seems that the tributary valley is hanging when seen from the floor of the main valley, and this is known as hanging valley. And here we can say that the hanging valley is formed by the erosional work of the glaciers. The normal waterfalls in the course of a river are generally formed due to an abrupt change in the slope of the valley flow. The waterfalls vary greatly in their size, shape, height, and volume of water. The most important waterfall in India is the Jog or Girsopa Falls on the Sharavati River in Karnataka. It is about 260 meters high. Other than that, we also have Chitrakoot Falls, which is Asia's widest and India's largest waterfall. It is also known as Niagara Falls of India. It is located in the state of Chhattisgarh and the waterfall originates from Indravati River in Bastar district. In South America, a tributary of Orinoco River jumps over the edge of Guana Plateau to form the highest waterfall in the world, that is the Angel Falls, which is 975-meter high. The Niagara Falls in North America and the Victoria Falls in Africa are famous waterfalls in the world. Niagara Falls is a group of the three waterfalls at the southern end of the Niagara Gorge, spanning the border between the province of Ontario in Canada and the state of New York in the United States. The largest of the three is the Horseshoe Falls, which is also known as Canadian Falls. And Victoria Falls, which is also known as Smoke That Thunders, is located on the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe and is considered to be one of the world's largest waterfalls due to its width. The steep sloping segments of the rivers are called rapids. Rapids are formed when water flows over the rocks at a very great speed. They are smaller than the waterfalls. The stream in the upper course sometimes offer possibilities for the development of hydroelectricity, means electricity that is produced from the falling of water. Now the next stage of the river is the middle course. The middle course of the river starts when it leaves the mountainous areas and enters the plain area. Here the volume of water in the river increases, but its velocity is basically reduced due to the reduction in slope. Lateral cutting is more active than the downward cutting. On the whole, river's depositional work becomes more important than its erosional work. Many landforms are normally observed in the middle course of the river. For example, meanders and oxbow lakes. The river normally follows the curved path rather than going straight. To and fro movement of the river channels across its plain results in developing S-shaped meanders, common to all the rivers of large size. The word meander is derived from the name of the small winding river meanders in Turkey. The speed of the river water slows down and the river does both the works of erosion as well as deposition. The river becomes so weak that even a small obstruction will force it bend its path. Once the process of curve formation starts, it goes on increasing with the passage of time. When the river begins to swing in large curves, it does the erosional work on the concave bank. Concave bank is the bank where the slope will be gentle, and depositional work on the convex bank where the slope will be slightly steep. This tendency increases and the curves take S shape. While an oxbow lake is a U-shaped lake that forms when a wide meander of the river is cut off, creating the freestanding body of water. For example, in South India at Vinthala, in Kerala, Vinthala Lake is the only naturally formed oxbow lake in India. So now students, let's come back to our reading. The middle course or the mature stage. The middle course of the river begins where the river leaves the mountains and enters the plains. Plains means the flat land. Due to the abrupt change in the slope of the river bed, the speed of the river slackens, means slow downs. Now the number of tributaries, means small streams, join the main river and thus the river's volume increases. It also carries a greater load of sediments. For example, the Yamuna meets Ganga at Allahabad. At this stage, the downcutting is less important than the widening of the valley floor. The lateral cutting of the valley results in the development of flat valley floor. Here, lateral cutting means eroding the sides of the river channels and widening of the river channels. The materials transported by the rivers are deposited as alluvium on its flood plains, forming the alluvial fans. The sluggish water of the river is turned at the slightest obstruction. Sluggish means slow moving. This can form a system of meanders. It is the characteristic feature of the river in the floodplain. The word meander is derived from the name of small winding river meanders in Turkey, and this I have already told. This river has numerous loops or meanders on its course, means on its way. The shape of the loop or meander is usually semicircular, but sometimes it is also circular. Each bend of the meander has two types of slope on valley sides. First, one side of the meander loop has concave slope, means the gentle slope where the river strikes the valley sides directly. This side is subjected to severe erosion resulting in the formation of cliffs. The other side of the meander loop has convex slope. Here the sand, gravel and even aluminium are deposited. The meandering of the river is a natural process and is controlled by the number of factors such as variety of rocks. In soft, porous rocks, more meanders are formed due to rapid erosion, whereas in the hard rocks, erosional work is less, so meanders are also less. Next, we have the general topography of an area. Meanders are mostly found in the plains because in the plains the depositional work is more, and in the meanders the deposition is done on the inside convex bank where velocity of the river is less. Next, we have the amount and distribution of annual precipitation. In the areas with the more rainfall, there will be less formation of meanders. Next one, we have vegetation cover. Trees, forest always act as the obstruction in the formation of the meanders. Next one is the discharge of water in the stream. Here, discharge of water is the volume of water flowing through a river channel. It has a direct influence on the potential and the kinetic energy of the river. Higher will be the discharge, means the volume of water. It will be having high energy to erode the banks. Next is the stage of the river development. We all know that meanders are mostly formed in the middle course or the mature stage of the river. The meandering of the river can occur in all types of terrains. Yes, for example, Indus forms the largest meander in the Himalayas. It is more in the regions having level surface with a gentle slope. Meanders are a result of both erosional and depositional work of the rivers. Practically all the Indian rivers in the northern plains of India have developed meandering courses. For example, the Gomti River in Uttar Pradesh is highly meandering stream. The course of Ganga River between Allahabad and Varanasi has developed a highly meandering course. In the meander beds are highly and arms are very close to each other. Most of the rivers in the northern plains of India have developed the oxbow type of meanders. Now here oxbow is a bow-shaped bend in a river or the land embraced by it. In a course of time, due to lateral erosion, the meandering groups become almost circular and come very close to each other. The strip of land between these two loops continued to become narrow till the river cuts through this strip and takes a straight course. Thus, the circular meander or the loop is left behind completely cut off from the main channel, forming an oxbow lake. Actually, the formation of oxbow lake is both due to erosion and deposition, and this we have already discussed. The spacious flat bottom valley with the coating of fertile alluvium offer sufficient space for agriculture, settlement and transport. The river also offer favorable facilities for the development of water transport. For example, River Ganga and Brahmaputra are the best source for inland navigation in India. Now next we are starting up with the lower course or the old stage of the river. This is that stage when the river enters into the sea or ocean after depositing its sediment on its mouth. The load bearing capacity of the river is drastically reduced in its lower course due to the sluggish flow of water as a result of gentle slope of land. Therefore, the work of river in this course is entirely that of deposition and it does not do any erosion at all. There are many landforms which are formed in this course of river. For example, the first one we have braided stream. It is a stream consisting of multiple small, shallow channels that divide and recombines numerous times, forming a pattern resembling the strands of braid. It is formed when there is an excess deposit of load on the floor of the channel because of the reduction in the carrying capacity of the river due to the slow movement of water in the stream. Now, the next important landform that the river forms at its mouth is the delta. When the river enters the sea or lake, it deposits all the load at its mouth, giving rise to the formation of delta. It is a triangular feature with the apex pointed upstream and it is marked by a fan-shaped area of fine alluvium. The mud deposited along the banks because of the slow carrying capacity of water becomes an obstacle and divides the river into the numerous branches called distributaries. The development of the network of such channels and sub-channels go on extending the delta areas. The river has no alternative but to discharge in the water sluggishly only through these distributaries. With constantly settling sediments, the deltas grow vigorously as long as the water channels are not completely choked by the silting. The size, shape, and the rate of growth of the delta is variable and it depends upon the interplay of number of factors. The Ganga Brahmaputra Delta is one of the world's biggest delta of the world. Other well-known deltas are of River Nile, Mississippi, Godavari, Krishna, etc. All the rivers of the world do not form deltas because there are certain conditions for building up a delta. Some of the important conditions favorable for the formation of delta are: number 1, there should be large quantity of water in the upper course of the river so that the sufficient sediments is available through its erosion work. Number 2, the large number of tributaries should join the main river so that additional sediments is available for the formation of deltas. Number 3, the river should have long course so that the speed of its water is sufficiently reduced before it enters the sea. This is necessary for the deposition to take place near the sea. Next, there should be no lake or any other obstruction in the course of the river because in that situation, the river will deposit its sediments there and sediments left out will not be sufficient for the formation of deltas. Next, the vast plains situated in the course of the river facilitate the reduction of speed of the river and helps in deposition of sediments for the delta formation. And at last, that the strong waves and tides in the sea wash away the sediments brought down by the rivers and hinders the formation of deltas. Some of these mentioned conditions are responsible for the formation of big deltas on the eastern coast of India, while there are practically no deltas on the western coast of India. Now students, let's start with the reading of this topic. The lower course or the old stage. In the lower course, generally the slope of the river bed is very gentle and the flow of the river is very slow. This causes a fall in the transporting capacity of the river. Thus, the work of the river in the lower course is mainly depositional, and this I have already discussed. Downcutting and widening of valley floor is not very prominent. Downward cutting was done in the upper course and widening of valley was done in the middle course of the river. The rivers in the lower course, due to the fall in their transporting power, deposit their excess load of sediments on the floor of the river channels. This is normally in the form of channel bars and islands. These bars and islands divide the river channel into the network of smaller channels and develops a braided stream. Now here, the braided stream is a stream consisting of multiple small shallow channels that divide and recombine numerous times, forming the pattern resembling to that of braids. When a river enters a lake or a sea, it tends to deposit its load at its mouth. This leads to the formation of deltas. So we can say deltas are the triangular shaped fertile land formed at the mouth of the river. The word delta is derived from the Greek letter triangle, which was first used by Greek historian Herodotus in about 485 to 425 BC for the triangular feature of the Nile River in Africa. Whether a small or large, almost every river can form a delta. The ideal conditions for the formation and the growth of delta are as under. The river should originate from the high mountains and should have well-developed river system. It will help in bringing down the large amount of sediment. Sediments are the eroded material. During the course of river, there should not be any big lake, otherwise the sediments brought down by the rivers would get deposited in these lakes, and this I have already discussed. The lower course of the river should be extensive and plain. It will make the flow of the river sluggish, means slow. Otherwise, the deposition will not be possible, because when the velocity of river is high, there is more erosion than deposition. The deposition of sediments take place regularly at the mouth of the river, on the sides of the stream channels, in the bed of the river and in the front of river mouth. These deposits obstruct the free flow of the main river, which gets divided into several branches and called distributaries. A distributary is a stream that is branched off and flow away from the mainstream channel. The network of these distributaries finally give shape to the deltas. The Ganga and Brahmaputra river together form the largest delta of the world, and it is known as Sundarbans Delta. The deposition of sediments take place in such a way that the larger materials such as gravels, means the big sediments, and the pebbles are deposited towards the coastal areas, and the size of sediments gradually decrease with the increasing distance from the coastal areas towards the sea. And this is because as the river flows down towards the sea, it goes on depositing sediments in its channel along the bank and also in the surrounding areas. The order in which the sediments are deposited are boulders, pebbles, gravel, sand, silt, and clay. We know that deposition is maximum in the lower course of the river, but it is not just confined to the lower course, it takes place in the middle course also. So now with this, students, we are ending up with the topic of the day. Please do the related question answers and exercises, and please keep exploring. Thank you.